Okay, first we'll be discussing about the if the World War II was inevitable or not, and I'm going for that it was inevitable. And my first reason of why I believe this is because the Treaty of Versailles was very harsh, and it was obvious that it would make Germany mad. And by being mad, Germany would eventually seek out for power for revenge.
However, if League of Nations was stronger with an army, funds, and participation of the United States, which was first created by the United States, like League of Nations was first created by the idea of the president of the United States, but it was never funded by the United States. So if it had strong, like firm funds from the United States with a stronger army, they would be preventable.
Actually, having a stronger army does not mean that they would have made the Treaty of Versailles less harsh. So if they had a stronger army, they might as well made it even more harsh because by doing so, Germany would fear the League of Nations and will have to submit to their will in the treaty.
It's Treaty of Versailles. It is true that Treaty of Versailles gave harsh punishment to Germany, and however, if League of Nations, if Treaty of Versailles was less strict and gave based on the equality base rather than the Allies' interest, then it would be preventable from Germany from invading other countries such as Poland.
Right, so let's move on. My next is during the Great Depression. So after the war, Germany was in economic chaos due to the Treaty of Versailles and the Great Depression. So the citizens were blaming the government for their problems, and they wanted change in leaders. And just it was good. And then during that time, the Nazi Party, people were favoring the Nazi Party upon good impression. So by this, it was inevitable that Hitler would rise to power because the citizens wanted new leaders, and Hitler, the leader of Nazi Party, and the Nazi Party was, being seen as a good party to the German citizens. So sooner or later, he would have risen to power, and his ideas of such as living space, the Lebensraum, was like it would lead to war because it's just stated that Germany just needed more land.
It is true that the failure and versatility of the economy would give a rise to a fascist government. However, there was some mistakes that Allies did after Nazi government was in the power. For instance, United Kingdom Prime Minister used appeasement in order to because he thought since the Prime Minister thought that Germany was too harsh for the Treaty of Versailles. So, but then this was the mistake. By the appeasement, Germany was able to annex the Sudetenland and other lands that were originally owned. But this was a so this was like sort of like the fire of what started the World War II. So if they stopped Germany from annexing Sudetenland, then Germany wouldn't be able to attack other countries.
Oh yeah, I also have that as that the Allies did not react when Hitler broke the treaty. So when he crossed the Rhine River, or when he annexed Sudetenland, or when he started remilitarizing Germany, because the Allies did not react, that was why the war was inevitable. But I get what you're saying, because that if the Allies did react, the war may not happen. Yeah. So, do you have any other points?
As I said, the Treaty of Versailles punished Germany too harsh with a huge amount of death, which caused a really deep depression for Germany. But then, if they didn't have much debt, then the fascist government wouldn't be as popular as they were back then. So I think that part was preventable. And
so do you want to move on to Japan now?
Yeah, sure.
So for Japan, I said that because the League of Nations wasn't strong enough to stop Japan, and when Japan expanded, The League of Nations didn't do anything, and when Japan invaded China, the League of Nations didn't do anything. That's why, because Japan wasn't stopped, they thought that Europe wasn't capable of stopping them. So that just led up to Japan like deciding that they can just take land and then that Europe won't do anything. That's why World War II also occurred in the Japanese side.
It is true. Like for instance, like invasion of Manchuria, like German remilitarization and state and land, they all could be preventable by the League of Nations. But the League of Nations instead didn't do anything and just got their interest in like internally instead of internationally. So for instance, like Britain and United States, since they're in the Great Depression, so they decided to give their like interest and focus on the inside of the country. So this would give like less support for the League of Nations. This would cause like League of Nations to not function properly. So I think that's what happened to the like when invasion of Manchuria happened, like when they were asking for when they're asking for a League of Nations and they didn't respond at all.
Oh yeah.
And that was the reason why.
Oh, so practically you're just saying that if the league was more powerful, then the war may not have happened.
And like the Allies gave more support to the League of Nations.
Oh, and for another point, I said that because the United States didn't join the league in the way beginning, because if they did, then like the league could have more power and they could have been more strict towards Germany breaking the treaty, or have more power to stop Japan from expanding into their colony and stuff like that. So what do you think about that?
United States. If the United States like first joined the war, then it could have been like preventable. But then
they couldn't deal with
it is preventable, and for Japan,
Germans and Japanese.
what United States did,
Because of this, they decided
United States they did oil embargo
and
and
they could not be
gave huge tariffs towards the Japan.
League of Nations.
So this actually caused Japan to react in a way that to bomb the Pearl Harbor.
Oh yeah.
So if they didn't give like such a harsh punishment towards Japan of invading China, I mean, then they would attack the U.S. So wait. Okay, so what I want to say is that if the U.S. joined like League of Nations, then the League of Nations would have like more opinion, like more active about the invasion of Manchuria and like Japanese expansion on the like to the westward like Pacific Islands. Then Japan would have like Japan would suffer huge consequences because by the League of Nations because they become more active. So it would be preventable for Japan from expanding more, and so it would eventually like stop them from like spreading, and it's more could have been preventable.
Oh, yeah. Also, for one of my points that the war was inevitable was the point about Hitler's ideas, because Hitler had like some crazy ideas about Germany living space and that Germans were the purest race and that Germans must stay pure and like ideas like that. So I said that those ideas were inevitable, that like they added to the fact that the war was to be inevitable, that if Hitler rose to power that he would try to get those ideas to reality. So what do you think about Hitler's ideas? Like how do you think they could have made it, like how do you think they contribute to the fact that the war was not inevitable?
Like Hitler's idea about the Germany becoming stronger, that was sort of inevitable, because if they're like in all situations like other wars and depressions, if the economy goes down, then there's always a riot or certain groups, the fascist group that comes up, right? With a stronger army that says that the country should be stronger, the proper army. So that probably would have been like inevitable. But then what the thing that was inevitable was that the Treaty of Versailles. So Treaty of Versailles gave huge debt to Germany, right? So if they didn't give huge debt to Germany, as I said, they wouldn't suffer the huge depression compared to other countries. So this would give like disadvantage to the fascist groups from rising. So yeah.
Wait, so do you think that the League of Nations should have gave a less harsh treaty to Germany?
Yeah, yes. If they give like less harsh punishment towards the Germany, then it would have been preventable.
But then if they, well, in some way that makes sense. But then in some way, in another idea, so if they gave Germany a less harsh treaty, wouldn't Germany be like, oh, if I do something bad, then they won't punish me as bad as I thought. So wouldn't that like, couldn't it might maybe like provoke them to like do worse stuff after all?
It is. It could sound wrong, but then
As I said,
like
people voted
if Treaty of Versailles gave like didn't put huge debt on the Germany, but kept the like demilitarization of the Germany, and but still like gave an effort to like rebuild Germany, I guess.
Or like
not,
help them,
not rebuild, but then like help them to like if they have depression and they help them. So help the current government.
so like they'll get friendly.
Yeah,
and
they'll
stuff?
get friendly. So they won't attack each other, but then be friendly with each other. And this, since like the government is like doing well, so people wouldn't have problem, which would give like less rising of the fascist government.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because like if German people themselves like the government, they wouldn't like ask for another government, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh, so like, so kind of what we're saying is like that the problems that go back to the roots, so which is the Great Depression. So the Great Depression is one of the parts that made the war inevitable, thanks to like the people being unhappy and the rise of fascist government and stuff. So do you think like there was a way that the Great Depression could be avoided?
um, the Great Depression was actually caused by the stock market crisis, right?
Yeah.
The stock market crisis was it can say in current days. The stock market crisis was caused by the like millionaire like stock. It's caused by the rich people. So they attempt to earn more money by stock exchange, right?
Yeah.
So if they sell all the stock market stocks, then the economy would eventually like fail. So I think that part wouldn't be like inevitable unless there is another system such as like communism, because they don't have stock market exchange. So, but like in capitalist world, I don't think that it was like inevitable.
So in Great Depression, the Germans, like the German citizens preferred fascism, right? But then if they weren't like having problems with the government and they were happy with communism, do you think that the war would have occurred?
No, I don't think so.
About this issue,
Right.